Hey Yankees fans, how's everyone doing today? There's a lot of noise coming out of the Bronx right now, and it feels like the offseason just started, but already there's drama, speculation, and a ton of excitement. The Yankees are right in the middle of everything once again, juggling free agency rumors, trade possibilities, and questions about how to shape this team around their superstar, Aaron Judge. The mission is clear. They're not rebuilding, they're reloading. The front office knows the window to win with Judge is still open, but it's not going to stay that way forever. So this offseason might be one of the most crucial we've seen in a long time. Let's be real. Last season left a lot of fans frustrated. There were moments of brilliance, no doubt, but inconsistency was the word that defined the year. The pitching staff did its job most of the time. Garrett Cole looked like an ace again, and some of the younger arms showed flashes of promise. But on the offensive side, it felt like the same old story. Too much reliance on power, not enough contact hitting, and when a lineup went cold, it was ice cold. The Yankees can't keep winning the same way they've been trying to win for years. They need balance, they need athleticism, and they need players who can do more than just hit the long ball. Now, when it comes to how the Yankees approach this free agency period, they've got some big questions to answer. The outfield is somewhat stable if everything breaks right. You've got Aaron Judge obviously locked in. You've got the young phenom Jason Dominguez. And then there's Cody Bellinger, who the Yankees are reportedly interested in bringing back. That would give them a good mix of experience, power, and defense out there. But then you look around the infield, and that's where things start to get tricky. Shortstop feels like it could use some clarification. Anthony Volpe had his moments last year, but the Yankees need to decide if he's really the long-term answer or if they need a veteran presence to help solidify that spot. Then there's third base, where Ryan McMahon just didn't deliver offensively. Sure, the guy can field, no one's denying that, but if you can't make contact, that glove can only take you so far in a lineup that's already struggling with consistency. And first base, man, that's a whole other discussion. Ben Rice stepped in and gave the team a spark. The guy's got pop. He runs the bases well, and he plays with energy. But the question is whether he's really the everyday first baseman of the future. Rice came up as a catcher, so if the Yankees ultimately decide they want him back behind the plate full-time, that opens a big hole at first. And that's where the rumors get wild, because the name being thrown around right now is Pete Alonso. Yeah, that's right. The Mets' own slugger, the polar bear himself. Now, just saying that out loud sounds insane, right? Pete Alonso wearing pinstripes, stepping up to the plate in Yankee Stadium while Mets fans lose their minds across town. But it's not as far-fetched as it sounds. Reports have come out that the Yankees are considered one of the favorites to go after Alonso, who just hit free agency again after opting out his deal with the Mets. He had a monster year, his best one yet, actually, and he's looking for a big contract. We're talking about something in the range of 7 years. The man wants to get paid. But here's the thing. While Alonso can absolutely crush the ball, that's pretty much what the Yankees would be paying for. His defense at first base isn't elite, and he's not exactly a speed demon on the base paths either. You're buying his bat, plain and simple. And that bat is good. We're talking about a .272 batting average, 38 home runs, an OPS close to .870, and an OPS plus north of 140. That's production you can't ignore. The problem is, it doesn't really solve the core issue this team has. The Yankees already have power. They already have big bats that can leave the yard in a heartbeat. What they don't have is consistency at the plate and enough guys who can keep rallies alive with singles, doubles, and smart base running. Signing Pete Alonso adds another power hitter who's going to hit bombs, but won't necessarily make the lineup more balanced. It's the same formula we've seen over and over again. You can picture it already, a lineup full of guys who can hit the ball 400 feet but struggle to manufacture runs when the homers dry up. And we've seen that story before. It doesn't end well. The Yankees have tried the power-only approach for years, and it hasn't brought them back to the World Series. What they need is someone like Josh Naylor, a first baseman who hits for contact, runs the bases well, and still give you solid pop. Naylor isn't going to hit 40 homers, but he's the kind of player who helps an offense function every single night. He's the type of hitter who makes the whole lineup better, not just the highlight reel. That's the internal debate the Yankees are facing right now. Do they go for the splash move, the one that grabs headlines and gets fans hyped, like signing Pete Alonso, or do they stay disciplined and build a more complete, well-rounded team? Because when you look at the numbers, Ben Rice actually stacks up pretty well for a young guy. 26 home runs, a .255 batting average, and .836 OPS, and a good approach on the bases. Sure, Alonso's numbers are better, but Rice is cheaper, younger, and improving fast. And that's what the Yankees need to think about. Why spend a fortune on Alonso when you might already have a future star developing right in your own clubhouse? Especially when that money could go toward fixing the left side of the infield, which is where the real question marks are. Shortstop, third base, those are the positions that can make or break this roster. And if the Yankees plan to compete deep into October, they need sure hands and clutch hitters in those spots. The Aaron Judge situation adds another layer to all of this. Late last season, Judge was dealing with that elbow injury, the same one that kept him from throwing at full strength and forced him into more designated hitter appearances. After the loss to Toronto to end the season, he said they were going to do some work on it and get it right, but when asked if surgery was on the table, he said, "I'm not a doctor." That's not exactly a confidence-inspiring answer. If Judge's elbow ends up being more serious than he's letting on, that could force the Yankees to think about moving him to first base eventually, which makes the Alonso pursuit even more complicated. And it doesn't stop there. Ben Rice's name has been floating around in trade talks, too. Teams are calling, asking about him constantly, but the Yankees don't seem eager to let him go. And honestly, can you blame them? He's one of their brightest young players, and if they're going to trade him, it would have to be for a legitimate star, someone who makes an immediate impact. Maybe a third baseman, maybe a shortstop, maybe even a top-end pitcher. But you don't move a guy like Rice just to clear space for another expensive slugger. If the Yankees did pull the trigger on a deal that sends Ben Rice out and brings back a star at another position, then yeah, maybe signing Alonso makes more sense. You'd replace the power you just lost, and you'd still have a stacked lineup. But as things stand right now, it feels like a risky move. A flashy one, for sure, but risky. Because if Judge's health limits his time in the outfield, and you commit 7 years and hundreds of millions to another power hitter who can't run or field at a high level, doubling down on a formula that hasn't worked. Look, there's no denying that Pete Alonso in a Yankees uniform would be a sight to see. The guy would mash home runs into the short porch all season long. It would drive Mets fans absolutely crazy. It would be one of those iconic New York sports storylines that people talk about for years. But at the end of the day, it comes down to whether the Yankees want another big bat or a better balanced team. Do they want headlines or championships? Because the teams that win in October aren't always the ones with the biggest sluggers. They're the ones who can grind out runs, who can turn singles into rallies, and who can make contact when it matters most. So right now, all eyes are on Brian Cashman and the front office to see which path they take. The offseason is just getting started, and there's a long way to go, but one thing's for sure. The Yankees can't afford to get this wrong. The fans are tired of waiting. Aaron Judge is still in his prime. The clock is ticking, and the decisions they make over the next few weeks could define the next era of Yankees baseball. The more you think about it, the more this whole offseason starts to feel like a giant puzzle for the Yankees. Every move connects to something else. Every rumor leads to another question, and nothing feels simple. The team's front office has to balance short-term success with long-term stability, all while keeping the fans' expectations sky high. Because this is New York, patience isn't exactly part of the culture. Every season that ends without a championship feels like a failure, and the Yankees know it. That pressure is what drives them, but it can also be what breaks them if they make the wrong choices. Let's take the Pete Alonso situation a little deeper. The idea of stealing a star from across town would be wild, no doubt about it. The last time something like that happened, it sent shockwaves through the entire city. There's something about a Met becoming a Yankee that always hits differently. But beyond the spectacle, there's a real question about fit. Alonso is a beast at the plate, yes, but when you put him into this Yankees lineup, what does it actually change? You're adding another right-handed power bat to a team already loaded with them. Unless you build the rest of the lineup to complement that style, it could be more of the same: big swings, big strikeouts, and too many empty innings. You could argue that the Yankees owe the Mets one after losing out on Juan Soto, but that kind of revenge signing doesn't win championships. It wins headlines for a week and then fades once the games start. If the Yankees want to make noise, they need to be smarter than that. They have to build a team that can handle October baseball, the kind of baseball where pitching dominates, where contact matters, and where every at-bat can decide the season. There's also the financial angle. A long-term deal for Alonso would mean tying up serious money in a player who might not age well defensively. We've seen how that goes before. Remember Mark Teixeira? When he signed, it was a perfect fit, but by the end of that deal, the legs weren't there anymore. The Yankees have been through this cycle plenty of times. They spend big, they get a few good years, and then they're stuck with a contract they can't move. That's what makes this decision so complicated. Meanwhile, the rest of the roster is still full of question marks. What happens with third base? What's the plan at shortstop? Do they believe in Volpe enough to keep him there no matter what? Or do they look for a veteran who can hit and defend consistently? And let's not forget the outfield picture. Jason Dominguez looks like a star in the making, but he's still young, still raw, and still recovering from that injury. Cody Bellinger would bring versatility in defense, but he's going to command a big deal too. How much can the Yankees really spend before they start running into roster imbalance again? And all of this circles back to Aaron Judge. His elbow has become one of the biggest mysteries in baseball. Nobody's sure how bad it really is, and his own answers didn't exactly calm anyone down. If Judge needs surgery or has to move to first base permanently down the line, that changes everything. It affects how you build your outfield, it affects what kind of hitters you prioritize, and it affects who you sign in free agency. The Yankees can't afford to guess wrong here, because every dollar they spend this offseason has to move them closer to a championship. Judge's situation also brings up a more emotional point. How long can the Yankees keep relying on him to carry the team? He's done everything he can. He's led on and off the field. He's been the face of the franchise, and he's constantly had to answer for everyone else's shortcomings. But one superstar can't do it alone. The front office knows they have to surround him with players who can handle the postseason stage. It's not enough to just be talented. You have to be tough, disciplined, and consistent. But before we continue, please remember to join our channel and give this video a like. Your support allows us to keep bringing you the latest news about the New York Yankees. Feel free to share your thoughts on the news in the comments. In what is quickly becoming the most talked about move of the offseason, whispers around Major League Baseball have reached a fever pitch. Bichette, the Toronto Blue Jays' electrifying shortstop, is reportedly set to don the pinstripes of the New York Yankees. Sources close to the situation suggest that the deal is more than just speculation, hinting an immediate impact on the Yankees' infield dynamics. Fans and pundits alike are abuzz, debating the ripple effects of this potential blockbuster acquisition. Bichette, known for his lightning-quick reflexes, aggressive hitting, and game-changing athleticism, would bring a fresh spark to the Bronx Bombers lineup. While the Yankees' infield has been serviceable, rumors indicate that management is eager to inject a new level of energy and versatility into the diamond. The arrival of Bichette could signal a strategic shift, giving the Yankees not only a potent bat, but also a dynamic presence capable of locking down the shortstop position and rotating across the middle infield. The baseball grapevine is alive with speculation about how this move could reshape rivalries. With Bichette in pinstripes, the heated matchups against AL East opponents would take on a whole new narrative, blending past Blue Jays confrontations with the storied Yankee legacy. Social media platforms are already ablaze with reaction GIFs, memes, and hot takes, reflecting the excitement and anxiety of fans watching what could be a defining moment in franchise history. Executives are tight-lipped, but insiders suggest that negotiations have been smooth and that both sides are motivated to finalize the deal quickly. If true, this acquisition could not only solidify the Yankees' playoff aspirations, but also send a clear message to the rest of the league. New York is not settling. As the rumor mill churns, one thing is certain. If Bichette does indeed make the jump to the Bronx, the MLB offseason will be remembered for years to come. That's it for this update. If you enjoyed the video and want to keep receiving exclusive news about the New York Yankees, please subscribe to our channel and give us a like. We always appreciate your comments and opinions. See you in the next video.